Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Well, the war in Ukraine continues to rage on. And we see once again that although it's not about Jews, it impacts Jews. The president of Ukraine is Jewish. Putin's talking about denazification. Bennett, the prime minister of Israel, is trying to be a go-between and make peace, going so far as to travel on Shabbos, even though he is himself observant. And no Israeli prime minister has traveled in the past on Shabbos. But the importance and the ability to save lives takes precedent over all, and therefore he's gone as well to try to make these connections and hopefully some kind of a peace. What does it tell us? What does it teach us? Well, this week is the holiday of Purim. The holiday of Purim is a very special, joyous holiday for each and every one of us, for our children, for the adults. We have parties. It brings tremendous simcha and joy to our life as Jews. The holiday of Purim, of course, is all about anti-Semitism. Haman wanted to destroy the Jewish people. And when Haman wanted to destroy the Jewish people, he first went to Achashverosh, the king of the time, and he said to him he wanted to give him money in order to destroy these people who are disparate or all over the place, and it's not worthy for your kingdom to have them in it. Achashverosh says, you have the money, I don't need it, you can destroy them. The Talmud tells us, this is analogous to the following. There were two people. Each one owned a field. One had a field, and there was a mound in the field. And this mound bothered him. So he would say to himself, what could I do to get rid of this mound? What would I pay to get rid of this mound? And the other one had a big ditch in his field. And he would say, what can I do to fill the ditch? I would pay good money to get the earth to fill the ditch. One day they meet each other. This one says, I have a mound. This one says, I have a ditch. And he says, you know what? I will pay for your mound. And he says, don't worry about it. Just take it. I need to get rid of it. This is what happens, says the Gemara, between Haman and Achashverosh. Haman comes along and says to Achashverosh, get rid of the Jews and I'll pay you money for it. Achashverosh says, if you're getting rid of them, I'll be happy. Don't pay me. So to Achashverosh, the Jews were a mound, and to Haman, they were a ditch. So what is the meaning of this? First of all, why the need for this analogy? It's quite straightforward. Two anti-Semites wanted to destroy the Jewish people. Unfortunately, we know this story too well. So what does it mean that the Jews are a ditch? They're not a ditch. You're something extra. You're a mound. What's the idea of being a ditch to Haman? So the Rebbe explains this story in the following way. He says there's two kinds of anti-Semites. There's the anti-Semite who says, this is my land. This is my place. And you are different and don't belong here. You're an interloper. You are a foreigner. You're strange. And you don't belong in my field. You don't belong in my land. You don't belong in my place. I want people who are just the same, just like me. I don't need intruders like you. You're an eyesore. You're a thorn in my side. I want you out. Oh, how we felt this. That's what the Egyptians said. We're afraid of these Jews. Who knows, they might become part of our enemies. Or more practically today, who are these Jews who want to make an eruv in our community? They're different. They walk different. They act different. They wear these coats. They wear these suits on Shabbat. They have a kippah or a kerchief on their hair. These are strange, different people. They don't belong in our society. That is the hatred of Achashverosh. Haman's hatred is much deeper than that even. To Haman, we create a ditch. What is a ditch? An emptiness. The consciousness of a higher form of living that the Jew represents, that Mordechai will not bow to Haman, tells Haman that he has something lacking in him. Haman comes home after Esther invites him to the first party, and he tells his wife and his friends, he says, I have all this, yet every time I see Mordechai the Jew, I feel this emptiness. I feel my life is not worth living. It's the life of someone jealous. Someone who's jealous sees another person as being an affront to them. You make me feel less of myself because of your success, or because of your being, because of who you are and what you represent. I feel I'm lesser. So he has a very big ditch. This indeed was Hitler. He says the Jews are the consciousness of the world. It's a Jewish construct. Haman says, I want to enjoy my life. And you, Mordechai says, I have to live in a higher plane for a higher purpose. That creates a ditch in my life. And this is true about any ism who represents something. This is the way to live, and if everyone lived in my way, then we would have utopia, be it communism, socialism, capitalism, different religions, Christianity, Islam. This is the way to live, When we grew up, 70s, 80s, there was a group called the Jews for Jesus who were working hard to get Jews away from Judaism. And what they would put up signs were, I found it. And near those signs, we put up signs saying, we never lost it. To any group that creates this new ism, they feel when the Jew comes along and says, I never lost it, that makes them feel a ditch, an emptiness, that somehow they don't have it. So what is the solution? How do you deal with these two kinds of anti-Semites? So Esther goes to Achashverosh, and she says to him, I'm a Jew, and I want you to save Ami bivakashasi. This is my people. The Jews are my people. So what does Achashverosh say? Okay, we'll save the Jews. Who wants to kill the Jews? What happened here? Why did Achashverosh just save Esther and kill the rest of the Jews? Chas v'shalom. But Achashverosh, what Esther was saying to Achashverosh is, you like me? You appreciate me? You like my qualities? That's because I'm Jewish. That is part of who I am. We are not foreigners to your land. We bring a value. We bring tremendous value to society. And just like you appreciate me, you should appreciate the Jewish people. When we are open about our Jewishness, when we wear our kippah, when we go home early for Shabbat, when we can't eat with everyone because it's not kosher, when we are proud Jews, when we have mezuzahs on our doors and put Chanukah menorahs up in public places, we are saying that Jews belong. When we hide any of that, we say, well, maybe Jews don't really belong in Australia. If Jews belong in Australia, and therefore any minority belongs in Australia, or any other country for that matter, then we have to be here as we are. And when our workmates, when our neighbors, when the people we associate with, wherever it might be, see and respect and appreciate us and know that we live at a higher moral, with a higher moral calling, because we are Jewish, that is the antidote to anti-Semitism. That changes Achashverosh's mind and changes the mind of the Achashverosh type of anti-Semite. Saul Werdiger tells a story, amazing story. And if I could, I might put it as a link for you to be able to watch it as well. So he tells a story how he has this big sports apparel in New York, and he was close to what's his name? South from South Korea. There was the head of the UN, the Secretary General of UN, Moon, I think was his surname, and Ban Ki-moon. That's it. And Ban Ki-moon asked him if he has a summer intern program because he has a young girl from Korea who would like to apply for a job. Yeah, sure. He put him through to his people, to his HR department, and gave her a job, I guess. Anyway, one day he gets a call from the Korean ambassador, and he says to him, "Are you Mr. Solberg?" Yes. So I want to thank you so much for how you're treating my daughter. He says, "I don't know who's your daughter." His daughter is a summer intern program. Then she stayed on working. Anyway, he made a meeting with him to go to a kosher restaurant, and he wants to thank him for what he's done. Okay. He goes to this meeting, and Ban Ki-moon and the Korean ambassador comes a half hour late. And he says, "I'm sorry, I had a vote in the UN. I needed to be there." What is the story? He says, "Well, I want to be we came to America with my daughter, and I wanted my daughter to be in a homely environment. New York is wild kids, and we're very family oriented. I wanted her to be in a more protected environment. And when she got the role in your office, she is so inspired. She's inspired how you stop in the middle of the day and you pray. She's inspired how people actually come. Rabbis and collectors come, and everyone who comes gets a few dollars. Tzedakah gets helped. She's inspired by how you talk to each other with respect, how there's no cursing. And she feels this is a great people. The Jewish people are really special people. So I want to thank you. Thank you. I mean, I didn't do anything, he says. She just worked here. I treated her like anybody else. We didn't. I don't think I ever met her. And then he says to him, I was late. This morning there was a vote against Israel in the United Nations. And when I'm meant to vote, and I say, hold on, Israel, isn't that the Jewish people? They're such nice people. Why would we vote against them? So I asked my country, and they said, do what you like. And I abstained. And the Jewish communal leaders are wondering, what happened here? All of a sudden, Korea abstained. They always voted with everybody else against Israel. The reason? Because a Jew whose daughter worked in acted like a Jew, was proud to be an open Jew, and was made a Kiddush Hashem, sanctified Hashem's name with the way they behaved. That is why he changed his vote in the United Nations. More so, the negative vote wasn't carried because Korea abstained from that vote. And this is how we as Jews, we live proud by who we are, and we show how we are giving to society, how we're making it a better place. That is how we make a Kiddush Hashem. That is how Achashverosh changes his mind about us. But what's about the Hamans? The Hamans, on the one hand, the fact that they are feeling something lacking within them is a good thing. It means to say they have a consciousness. They feel a lack because they're living a life of just pursuing their own pleasures versus a life of purpose. And so it is our task to show them and guide them that they too have a purpose in life and can live at a higher order. They too are given a divine spark, and to live up to it will be them living to their purpose. And when we encourage non-Jews to live that way, then those non-Jews who live for a higher purpose because of our guidance, they're not the Antisemites. They're not the Hamans, they're not the Achashveroshs. I'll conclude with the following little episode that happened to the Alter Rebbe when he was in Tsarist Russia. He was imprisoned for sending money to Israel, first charity, and there was a whole they said that he was sending money to the Ottoman Empire, who the Russians were fighting with. So they put him in prison for treason, and they interrogated him. Anyway, one day he's sitting in his cell, and one of the big ministers comes into his cell and says, "I have a question for you." In the beginning of the book of Bereshit, it says that after Adam sinned with the tree of knowledge, God comes to Adam and says, "Ayeka, where are you?" He says, "What's God saying? Where are you? Doesn't God know where he is?" And the Alter Rebbe gives him the answer Rashi gives. He was just entering into the dialogue. He says, "I know what Rashi says, but I want to hear what the Rebbe says." So Alter Rebbe says to him, when a person lives this and this amount of years, and enumerating how long this minister lived, and has done this and this in his life, enumerating what this person has done, and has not really fulfilled his ultimate purpose, Hashem turns to him and says, "Ayeka, where are you? You were created for a purpose. You have a goal. Where are you to achieve that?" And the minister really appreciated that. He actually slapped Alter Rebbe on the back and said, "Bravo!" And he was very instrumental in them releasing the Alter Rebbe. So when we stand tall, we don't take down our mezuzahs. We put them up, bigger ones. We don't take off our kippah. We wear them out in the public. We're not embarrassed of our Judaism and conducting ourselves as Jews. That is when we inspire the world and we minimize anti-Semitism. We're not going to get rid of it, not till Mashiach comes, which will happen soon. It may indeed happen very, very soon. Good Shabbos.